The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien. Chapter 2, Part 2. Three very large persons sitting around a very large fire of beech logs. They were toasting mutton on a long spits of wood and licking the gravy off their fingers. There was a fine, toothsome smell. Also, there was a barrel of good drink at hand, and they were drinking out of jugs. But they were trolls. Obviously, trolls. Even Bilbo, in spite of his sheltered life, could see that. From the great heavy faces of them, and their size, and the shape of their legs, not to mention their language, which was not drawing room fashion at all. Mutton yesterday, mutton today, and blimey, if I don't look like mutton again tomorrow, said one of the trolls. Never a blinking bit of man flesh have we had for a long enough, said a second. What the hell William was thinking? What the old William was thinking of to bringing us into these parts at all beats me. And the drink running short, what's more, he said, jogging the elbow of William, who was taking a pull at his jug. William choked. Shut your mouth, he said as soon as he could. You can't expect folk to stop here forever just to be it by you and Brett. You have village and a half between you since we come down from the mountains. How much more you want? And time's been up our way. Whatever have you said, and thank Bill for the nice bit of fat valley mutton like what this is. He took a big bite of ship's leg he was roasting and wiped his lips on his sleeves. Yes, I'm afraid trolls do behave like that, even those with only one head each. After hearing all this, Bilbo ought to have done something at once. Either he should have gone back quietly and warned his friends that there were three fair-sized trolls at hand in a nasty mood, quite likely to try roasted dwarf or even pony for a change, or else he should have done a bit of good quick burgling. A really first class and legendary burglar would at this point would have picked the troll's pockets. It is nearly always worthwhile if you can manage it. Pinched the very mutton of the spits, purloined the beer, and walked off without their noticing him. Others more practical but with less professional pride would perhaps have stuck a dagger into each of them before they observed it. Then the night could have been spent cheerily. Bilbo knew it. He had read a good many things he had never seen or done. He may he was very much alarmed as well as disgusted. He wished himself 100 miles away and yet somehow he could not go straight back to Thorin and company empty handed. So he stood and hesitated in shadows of the various burglarious proceedings he had heard of. Picking the troll's pockets seemed the least difficult. So at last he crept behind a tree just behind William. Bert and Tom went off to the barrel. William was having another drink. Then Bilbo plucked up courage and put his little hand in William's enormous pocket. There was a purse in it, as big as a bag to Bilbo. Ha! Thought he, warming to his new work as he lifted it carefully out. This is a beginning. It was. Trolls' purses are the mischief, and this was no exception. Are you? It squeaked as it left the pocket, and William turned round at once and grabbed Bilbo by the neck. before he could duck behind a tree. Blimey, Bert, look what I have copped, said William. What is it? Said others coming up. Me, if I knows, what are you? Bilbo Baggins, a hobbit, said poor Bilbo, shaking all over, wondering how to make all noises before they throttled him. A hobbit, said they, a bit startled. Trolls are slow in the uptake and mighty suspicious about anything new to them. What a bird hobbit got to do with my pocket, anyways, said Williams. And can you cook them? Said Tom. You can try, said Bert, picking up a skewer. He wouldn't make above a mouthful, said William, who had already had a fine supper, not when he was skinned and bone. Perhaps there are more like him around about, and we might make a pie, said Bert. Here you, are there any more of your sort sneaking in these woods? You nasty little rabbit, said he, looking at the hobbit's furry feet, and he picked him up by the toes and shook him. Yes, lots, said Bilbo, before he remembered not to give his friends away. No, none at all, not one, he said immediately afterwards. Whatever you mean, said Bert, holding him right away, up by the hair this time. What I say, said Bilbo, gasping. And please don't cook me, kind sirs. I am a good cook myself and cook better than I cook if you see what I mean. I'll cook beautifully for you, perfectly beautiful breakfast for you if only you won't have me for supper. Poor little blighter, said William. He had already had as much supper as he could hold, also, he had lots of beer. Poor little blighter, let him go. Not till he says what he means by lots and none at all, said Bert. I don't want to have me throat cut in me sleep. Hold his toes in the fire till he talks. I won't have it. I caught him anyway. You are a fat fool, William, said Bert, as I have said afore this evening. And you are a lout, and I won't take that from you, Bill Huggins, says Bert, and puts his fist in William's eye. Then there was a gorgeous row. Bilbo had just enough wits left when Bert dropped him on the ground to scramble out of the way of their feet before they were fighting like dogs and calling one another all sorts of perfectly true and applicable names in very loud voices. Soon they were locked in one another's arms and rolling nearly into the fire, kicking and thumping, while Tom whacked at them both with a branch to bring them to their senses. And that, of course, only made them madder than ever. That would have been the time for Bilbo to have left, but his poor little feet had been very squashed in Bert's big paw, and he had no breath in his body, and his head was going round, so there he lay for a while, panting, just outside the circle of firelight.